Now my grandmother told me not to believe in dreams when you first woke up. It's actually one of the best things you can do if you have schizophrenia-like symptoms. Don't believe your dreams. Anyway, I had a dream last night that Eminem had a cohort from Georgia named Nuke. And Nuke had this killer punch, like he could knock anybody out with one punch. And so everybody was like putting Nuke up to not going downtown because apparently the other guy was going to be downtown. And everybody always hypothesized that if Nuke and the other guy met downtown, he'd punch him out. But it's not really true. I'm not a violent person. If my name really is Nuke. The only punching I've ever done in America is to punch a hole in the wall, which was to prove a number of different points. One of them is that my grandmother actually will hang a picture frame in front of it instead of getting it repaired to keep from bothering Mr. Washington. And the other is that my grandfather, though he worked for Washington, actually got the wall repaired. And number two about him, he actually was my grandfather. He forgave me for punching a hole in the wall. Number three, he forgave my older brothers who were uncles in his house for doing the same, but they had to leave because they did it insultingly. And what I did was actually explain to him, this is my test of your statement of honor about your word. Anyway, I haven't gotten my good morning wishes yet. But as I experienced in another dream, and Jesus told me, don't let him catch me sleeping on the third call. So we passed the second call, which is the symbolic call, and the first call, which was the historical call. So, you know how in the preamble to the coming again of Christ in the scripture, it says the skies will be darkened, and the third of the stars of the sky will fall, and the sun and the moon will refuse to give their light. Right? So that actually happened in Bond City. Except that then the second call came, and it was a symbolic call, happened all again. It's all in my head in a way, but it's really true in a way as well, because the heart is where the imagination afflicts you if you differentiate between intellect and feelings. And so, that Christ was coming again was not imagined. It's just that the darkening of the skies and the falling of the stars was more of a symbolic experience. At least as far as I could tell, easily, because I had kind of fading memory. I remember driving by school one morning, and it was completely dark. The kids were showing up for class at the Scholars Academy. It was completely dark outside. And I've always been told this patriotic mess. If you go around telling people things like that happen, they'll shoot you as soon as they can. And so I reasoned within myself, as I always did when I was with my grandfather's, or maybe there's a logical explanation for this. So I reasoned a little bit, and I decided, well, maybe kids were just going to school too early. It wasn't dawn yet. It could have been, so we have this thing in Georgia called daylight savings time. And depending on what time of the year is, the nautical light effect will have a different amount according to whether it's daylight savings time or not, and that will actually change overnight. So one day they set the clocks ahead 1 hour, and another day they set the clocks behind 1 hour. And that day, the days were shortened like the Bible said, and they were shortened so much that my children were at school at 7:46 a.m. and it was completely dark outside. I didn't remember anything ever like that happening when I was a child. I was kind of trying to scratch my head, like thinking, if there really is a logical explanation for this, why don't I remember it being dark when it was time to go to school? Because we went to school at 7:45, 7:46 in the morning as well. And but this wasn't just like one day. Like this is like 2 or 3 days in a row. I would be up in what was obviously to me the middle of the night, but it was 7:45, 7:46 in the morning, and kids were going to school. Now, by obviously it was the middle of the night, I'm using a terminology that we don't use in American schools very much, which is that it's pitch black outside. Anyway, it was a miracle, and Jesus caught me sleeping. But he said, don't do that. Don't let him catch you sleeping when he's coming, okay?